Hello, my fellow kaiju fans. I'm Godzilla Guy G, and welcome to my desk. And if you're wondering why I'm at my desk today, you won't get an answer to that yet. But what I can tell you is that today I'm going to be doing my very first ranking video. That's right, the very first one in this channel's history. Very exciting. And today I'm going to be ranking the Showa Godzilla movies, aka the Godzilla movies from the original Gojira from 1954 all the way up to Terror Mechagodzilla. Now, a couple of things I have to mention off the bat here. First off, these movies are going to be ranked based on my personal opinions on them, so how well made they are as films, for example, won't be a very huge factor here. It can definitely elevate a movie above another one, but it won't be my main focus. The main focus here is how much I like them personally, so just keep that in mind. This is a very subjective list. Secondly, I'm going to only be including the Japanese versions of these movies. So that means no American cuts or anything like that. And that's because I haven't seen all of them, so I didn't feel comfortable with just putting some of them on here and some of them not, so yeah, that's why they're not here. I'm only going to be talking about the Japanese originals. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything for the intro stuff. So now, let's get into the ranking. Or that's at least what I would say, but I can't just let you guys look at this white background for the entire video. You know, this isn't a Triple G cast, you know, that would just be boring. So I'm going to put something in here for you guys to have something to look at visually. Now, originally I was going to put something that had relevance to the Showa Godzilla movies, but I don't actually have anything that can do that, so instead, you get the next best thing. This guy! Yeah, that's right. You thought Mr. Chip was gone? No, he is very much here and probably alive, to be honest. But anyways, hello Mr. Chip. Say hi to the audience.
I am currently looking at you through your window.
Classic Mr. Chip, everyone. But anyways, with that out of the way, let's get into my ranking of all of the Godzilla Showa movies from worst to best. Here we go. Godzilla's Revenge is probably one of, if not the worst Godzilla movie out there. There is just so much bad things in this film, and despite only being 70 minutes, it feels like it's 3 hours long. The main key character is extremely annoying, the overuse of stock footage is just really lame. The story most of the time doesn't even feel like a Godzilla movie. Manila sucks, and he talks, and that extra sucks, and Ghidorah is probably the most pathetic kaiju in the entire Godzilla franchise. It does have some moments that are so bad that they are good, and watching Godzilla beat the crap out of Ghidorah is very fun to watch. But overall, this movie is just really bad, and if you're thinking of rewatching the Showa Era of Godzilla movies, I just recommend that you skip this one. You're really not missing out on much. Godzilla Raids again is the victim of a rushed production, and unfortunately when watching you can really tell. Just everything from the original is just done here but worse, like the characters, the story, the themes, and even stuff like the music and cinematography, which is still decent, just not nearly as memorable as it was in the original. It does introduce Anguirus though, which is awesome, and the battle between him and Godzilla is actually one of the coolest in the franchise. And I don't know, I just think I have somewhat of a soft side for black and white kaiju movies, there's just something about them. But even my love for those kinds of movies can't really blind me to the fact that this is one of the most forgettable Godzilla movies out there, and it's nothing when compared to the original, obviously. Son of Godzilla is the turning point in the Godzilla franchise, where Godzilla turned from a metaphor for the nuclear bomb into a father with a hideous child. Like I said before, Manila sucks, I don't need to say anything more about that. Kamikaze is really boring, the action scenes are lackluster to say the least, and the characters are just very, very stale. However, the movie's story is fun. Kumanga is actually kind of an underrated kaiju in my opinion, and the final scene is actually very heartwarming, so I'll give the movie that. But still, this one is just very mediocre, and you can basically I just recommend you skip it, you're not missing out on much. Oh, and also, Godzilla's head in this movie is terrible. He looks like a frog. I hate it. Godzilla vs. Gigan is a movie that I really wish I liked more because it does introduce one of my favorite kaiju, Gigan. It also has an all-star cast of kaiju, the story is actually pretty decent, and the characters are fun. However, the movie just gets bogged down because of the pacing to me. This is just one of the more boring Godzilla movies, and that's again really weird because it has a bunch of kaiju in it, and from what I remember, a lot of stuff does happen in it. Also, I think one of the things that I don't like is that the kaiju action is surprisingly forgettable. Like with a cast of kaiju like this, you'd think they'd have some of the best kaiju action, but no, it surprisingly doesn't. Still, the movie's fine, but to me, it's just okay. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just okay. Destroy All Monsters is probably the most disappointing movie on this ranking, and probably the one that I'm going to get the most hate for. Listen, this movie has one of the best kaiju action scenes in any movie. The final battle between the Earth monsters and King Ghidorah is awesome, and I love it. And anytime the kaiju on screen, it's a blast. But that's the problem with this movie. The kaiju are barely on screen, and it's way more focused on the boring human characters, the boring aliens, and just the boring stuff they get up to. The first act is okay, the second act is really boring, but the third act is really good, so it kind of balances out, you know. But I'm putting it above the other ones because at least this one has like something that's super memorable, you know, in a good way. So I'll give the movie that, but to me, it's just a bit disappointing that a movie with this many kaiju isn't going to be higher on this ranking. Either way though, it's still okay. Invasion of Astro Monster has a great cast of human characters, and they actually carry this movie quite a lot. I love the characters in this movie. I just have to say that up front because the kaiju stuff in this movie is honestly not that great. Like for one, it only features 3 of the kaiju that were in the previous movie, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, so that's weird on its own. And secondly, the budget was clearly not good here, so because of that, the kaiju barely get any fight scenes, and the ones that are there are like below 2 minutes. It's kinda disappointing, but this movie really does get carried by the human characters. I really enjoy them. I just really wish the kaiju stuff was up to par as well, but oh well, what are you gonna do? You can't really do much against a cut budget, I guess. Terror of Mechagodzilla is yet another movie that gets saved by the human characters for me, because the humans in this movie are, once again, actually pretty interesting. But again, the kaiju action here just isn't that great, and the Terror of Mechagodzilla is only in like the last 20 minutes anyways. Now, I'll give the movie this, at the very least it has one new kaiju, and the kaiju action scenes are more memorable than the ones in Invasion of Astro Monster, so because of that I'm giving it the slight edge, but still, I just kinda wish the final Showa Godzilla movie was a bit more memorable. But again, the humans are good, so I guess that's okay. I just wish the kaiju got a little bit more time to shine in what was supposed to be the final Godzilla movie. And, well, the final Godzilla Showa movie. So, yeah. Godzilla vs. Ghidorah is the weirdest Godzilla movie ever made, and that's saying quite a lot. However, I actually kinda like it. I like all the weird imagery in this movie, and it makes it really stand out from all the other ones. And Ghidorah is one of my favorite kaiju in the series. I think he's really cool, and I really want to see him return one day. However, the characters are very bland, and the battle scenes are very disappointing. Like, they could do so much more with Ghidorah, and yet he just stands there and just shoots sludge. Like, that's it. But this movie does have Godzilla flying, so it gets like 10 points because of that anyways, so yeah. Godzilla vs. Ghidorah, definitely weird, but it's my kind of weird, and it's definitely not a movie that everyone will enjoy. It's definitely not a movie for everyone, but me personally, I enjoy it. Godzilla vs. Mothra is a bit overrated, and the reason why I say that is because I just think it's good, but I don't think it's a masterpiece like so many other people do. But most of the things this movie does, it does fine. I think the characters are okay, the story's okay, and really when you look at it, it's just Toho remaking the original Mothra, but then adding in Godzilla. And the scenes with the kaiju are great here, and even though Mothra doesn't get a lot of screen time, whenever she shows up, it's always a great time. Overall, this movie's just kinda solid. There's not really any major complaints I have with it, but I also just really don't see it as a masterpiece like so many other people do. I'm sorry, but hey, I guess that's just how it goes. Ghidorah the Three-Headed Dragon might start out slow in Act 1, but as soon as Rodan shows up out of the volcano, the movie gets way better. The kaiju action here is great, and watching all of these kaiju on screen together, that being Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, is just a blast. The characters are nothing special, I guess, but really this movie is just a lot of fun. Again, the first act is kinda slow, but once you get past that, it's a really fun and entertaining kaiju movie with a lot of great kaiju action and a really good pace. So overall, can't really say much bad about this film. I think it's really good. Ebra Horror of the Deep is my ultimate Godzilla guilty pleasure. You'll probably be surprised by how high up on the list this one is, but I can't help it, man. This movie just has a really good cast of characters that I really enjoy watching. And once they get on the island, the movie is never slow, it always has a good consistent pace. And I will say the kaiju introduced in this, like Ebra and, well, the giant condor, aren't exactly like the best kaiju in the series, and the same thing can be said for the fight scenes. I mean, most of it is just Godzilla and Ebra playing volleyball. But I just don't really know why, but I really enjoy this film. It has a really fun story, a really good cast of characters, and it's very fun and entertaining, so overall, can't really say much bad about this one. And again, it's not like a very good movie or anything, but it's just one that I really enjoy personally. Godzilla vs. Megalon is so bad that it's good. If I were to criticize this as, like, in an objective way, it wouldn't score high at all, but, like, just for entertainment purposes, this movie is a masterpiece. I love Megalon, I love Jet Jaguar, I love Gigan, I love Godzilla, and this movie has them all. It has extremely fun fight scenes, including the one where Godzilla does his, like, tail float kick or whatever you call it. Whatever it is, it's genius. And while the characters and stuff like that might not be very good, I don't really care because the movie's just so entertaining and it's just so stupid and crazy that I really can't help but like it. This is just a very bad movie that ends up being good. It's the definition of a so bad it's good movie. Again, it's more of a guilty pleasure than anything, but I enjoy it. I can't say much more than that. It's not a good movie, but I really enjoy it. King Kong vs. Godzilla is so much fun. Sure, some elements of it haven't aged the best, and if you watch the film, you definitely know what I'm talking about. But besides that, this movie is just so fun. This is very much a comedy, and it's really funny, and it's so over the top that I just can't help but love it. I love both designs for both Godzilla and King Kong, as you guys probably already know, and the fight is between the two at the end is probably my favorite fight in the entire franchise. It's so stupid and looks so cheap, but I absolutely love it. And that's really this movie. It may be a bit cheap and it's not really that well made, but when a movie is this entertaining and just gives you all the stuff you want, like the kaiju action and stuff like that, and a decent cast of characters to boot, it's just really good. I can't say anything more about it. Really, these last movies are ones where I'm really finding it hard to like actually criticize them because they're just so fun. I really can't. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla is really underrated. I don't see a lot of people talking about this one, and that's a true shame because I think it's the best Mechagodzilla movie we've gotten. I absolutely love the new kaiju they introduced here, that being Mechagodzilla and King Caesar. They're excellent additions to the franchise, and the final battle is one of the most brutal and most memorable fight scenes in the original Showa Era. And the characters are also great in this one. I really enjoy all of them, and the story is really fun as well. So overall, this is just a really fun and entertaining movie that I can barely criticize. I really love this film. It has a really good pacing and everything other things like the music and cinematography is obviously great here. And the fact that they went this big for like Godzilla's 20-year anniversary just makes me really happy. It's just a very, very good movie that I really think should be talked about more because it's really good. Godzilla from 1954 is the best Godzilla movie ever made. Like, from an objective standpoint, it just is. And you all probably expected this one to be number one. It might not be my favorite, because Godzilla Final Wars is my favorite, but it's definitely the best one. And out of the Showa series, it's definitely my favorite. This movie just does everything so well. The characters are complex and memorable. The dark themes here are haunting. Godzilla is terrifying and doesn't feel like he has any emotions or anything, which is perfect. And again, I just really like black and white kaiju movies. I don't know what it is, it just seems a lot more like threatening when you have them in black and white. I don't know, it's really cool. And yeah, I mean, what else can I say? Like the music, the cinematography, I mean, everyone knows why Godzilla in 1954 is so great. If you're a fan of Godzilla movies, you're a fan of this one. So yeah, I really can't say much more. I'll definitely make a video about it one day, but all I can say is, Godzilla 1954, easily the best Showa Godzilla movie, like without question, and without any doubt, my favorite. But yeah, anyways guys, that was my ranking of all the Japanese Godzilla Showa movies. Now, the question here is, do you guys agree or disagree? Because I bet there's at the very least one placement on this ranking that you disagree with. So be sure to tell me down in the comments what your least favorite or favorite Showa Godzilla movies are. I would really like to hear about it. Also, if you liked the video, be sure to give it a like, of course. And then, if you haven't already and you enjoy my content, then be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Anyways guys, this has been it for the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!
Life is pain.